Welcome back to the county seat. You know, in the Kevin Costner film, the line is, if you build it, they will come. Well, in reality, it's if you promote it, they will come. And that is the basis of a tax that's been around in Utah for about 20 years. It's called TRCC, Tourism, Recreation, Culture, and Conventions. It's a tax that is currently under siege as a group says it's unconstitutional and they want it to go away. Here with the details on that is Susan Wood.
Golf courses, trails, convention centers, airports. Did you ever realize that when you buy a hamburger or a breakfast burrito, you're likely paying for these? In many counties, much of the funding for these attractions comes from a tax called the TRCC. It's the Tourism, Recreation, Cultural, and Convention Tax.
It goes to a lot of good causes. In our case, we're helping fund the St. George Airport.
It began 20 years ago. Salt Lake County was planning an expansion of the Salt Palace to create the convention center you see today. But Salt Lake County was $58 million short.
It was either find the money someplace or lose the opportunity for the expansion.
A room tax had already been placed on hotels, so the problem was presented to the state legislature, and they came up with something different, a restaurant tax.
The legislation passed, and we purposely left out the grocery stores and convenience stores because of their representation up at the Capitol. They had enough political clout to blow it up. And back then, convenience stores and grocery stores weren't in the restaurant business. Now they're going into the restaurant business.
And now, 2 decades later, restaurant owners say that if the playing field has changed, so should the tax.
So let's say we're driving down the street and I decide I'd like a drink and a sandwich. I could check into Maverick over here on the corner, or right up ahead there's a Carl's Jr. Only difference is, if I buy at Carl's Jr. for a $6 burger, I'll be paying 6 cents in tax, the restaurant tax.
That will fund eligible TRCC projects within the county. But as small as that amount might seem, some say it's unfair.
You're providing the exact same goods and services, and one is being taxed and the other is not.
If businesses are in competition with each other, they should be paying a fair and equitable tax.
The Restaurant Association has filed a series of bills over the last 6 years to rectify the problem, but the legislature has failed to act on any of them. So the Restaurant Association, along with the help of the Utah Taxpayers Association, are taking the matter to court. They filed suit against Utah County.
Our sense is that the best place to file that suit was against one of the counties, and as I said, Utah County's name got pulled out of a hat.
Leaders of Utah's counties think that if the group has an issue, they should sue the state legislature because the law they are challenging is a state law, not a county ordinance. But the spokesman for the Restaurant Association disagrees because it is at the county's option whether to collect the tax. But what if counties lose this revenue source?
It opens a whole can of worms, something that almost defies, I think, a solution. But we've got to remember, if there was ever a tax that was a noble tax, this is it. This is something that people pay 1% when they eat out at a restaurant, and goes directly into promotion of tourism in that county.
And as we have looked at the revenues that have been generated from the various sales taxes, the restaurant tax has been more stable than anything we've seen in terms of the collections over the past few years during the recession.
Even the Restaurant Association understands the value of the tax.
Tax has purchased many great things, from doggy parks to playing fields up at the University of Utah. A great deal of activities are funded with this tax.
But they question its fairness.
People who are in competition with each other need to be taxed at the same rate by a governmental entity.
I really don't think that a 1% increase in the tab on a restaurant meal is an onerous, difficult thing to budget for.
For the county seat, I'm Susan Wood.
We will continue our discussion of TRCC funding and the lawsuit in Utah County with a panel discussion when we come back. We'll be joined by our guests, Tom Guinea from Gastronomy, Royce Van Tassel from the Utah Taxpayers Association, our friend Brent Gardner from the Utah Association of Counties, and Commissioner Luenda Downs from Davis County. We'll be back in just a minute.